Welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today is day 3 of a 5-part series where my wife was traveling out of the country for an entire week, and we're going to talk about what happened Wednesday.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to talk about my wife's trip overseas and what happened Wednesday. So Tuesday, the baby slept through the night, so we get up, and it's at this point I'm kind of in a mental routine and get things done, park every day, get the kids off to school, come home, get to work, service my clients, do what I need to do. Wednesday is what I will describe to you as the meltdown day. I just want to back up a minute and let you know the reason I'm even doing this series is I grew a bigger appreciation for my own mother during this week because she was a single mom. I grew a bigger appreciation for all of the single moms out there, the stay-at-home moms who deal with this stuff on a day-to-day, but the stay-at-home moms do have a partner taking care of a lot of the external things. So it's just an appreciation for when you're taking on the load. I actually have one of my son's best friend's moms, her husband travels at least 5 days a week. He's always gone Monday through Friday, and sometimes it's gone a weekend. It'll be a 2-week trip. I grew a new appreciation for what she does day in and day out in her everyday life. Managing the household and taking care of the kids. The only difference is she doesn't run a business also and have clients, right? So, anyway, meltdown day. Meltdown day was first, let's just skip over my work day. That's just kind of, what needs to get done in the everyday of life. Taking care of the clients, taking phone calls, stocking up on a couple groceries during the day. I got to sneak out at one point. Actually had a friend of mine reach out and he says, "Hey, I know you're alone this week. Do you need me to stop by and pick up some groceries or anything for you? Pick up dry cleaning, any of that?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I have the middle of the day to take care of some of those things when the kids are in school." So we get home. And my son, my older one, gets home from kindergarten, comes off the bus. He wants to go for another hike. He wants to be out. He wants to go to the park. We go to the park for a little while. And the park was great because I got to, as he's playing with other kids and they were building some type of fort. It's always interesting. I was uploading some of these videos as that happened. Some of these podcasts while we're at the park, and I'm just listening to the kids interact, and they're building a fort and a hideout, and they're grabbing random sticks. My son's like, "Can we go get some duct tape because I want to build something inside this space?" And the little girl's like, "No, you could do it this way." And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome." And she's like, "And we could do this also." And they started working together to just really build something together. Which is exciting and fun and new, and then the mom, I didn't really interact with the parents. Sometimes I do because I was working while they're playing, but keeping an eye and listening to the conversations. And there's this one kid off to the side, a little girl. Ladies listening to this podcast, I just love to watch little girls be young women at such a young age. The social skills, the wanting to be inclusive. I don't have girls, I have boys, but I appreciate when I go to the park, little girls coming up to me and saying, can he play with me? And I'm like, yeah, he can play with you if he wants to. And often, if it's a younger girl, and often that's the case, he'll appease her and play with her because I tell him it's the right thing to do. So just watching that interaction is fun. The mom over there is getting a kick and she's apologizing. I was like, you do not have to apologize for your social little girl. Enjoy this. I that's another thing I'll say is parents out there, stop worrying about how your kids behave around other kids. Kids are kids, and as parents, we get it. I often say to other parents at parks, look, I got one too, I get it. And then they laugh like in this relief. They're always worried. We're worried about what other people are thinking about our kids. We don't need to apologize for our kids unless they're beating the crap out of somebody else's kid. That's the only time. And even then, quite frankly, I don't blame the kid. They should be apologizing on their own behalf many times. Anyway, I digress. Right back to this. Go home, pick up his brother, and I'm going to do a podcast on this very soon. Because the topic we're dealing with now, and I'll tell you how we're dealing with it in that podcast. See, I don't know jack about parenting, but I do know that when little boys throw stuff, I don't necessarily want to tell them to stop. We're testing our physicality, our motor skills, and moms out there, you're probably like, oh no, they can't throw things. We can't cage our little animals. We must allow them to be. We must allow them to flex these muscles. When he's kicking the ball around the house at 17 months like a little Pele, I enjoy it because I'm watching him practice his skills. And depending on the ball, depending on what he's throwing, it's driving my wife nuts. But here's the thing. I don't tell him no. She does. And we'll talk about that in a whole other thing. But this is why it was meltdown day. Brother sitting there watching TV, and the little one decides to have a Matchbox car and throw it at his brother. Here's the challenge with this kid. He's actually accurate with his throwing. I'm not that dad is like, oh, my kid's the best sports kid. No, the older one plays sports. He's okay. He has no desire, but he is somewhat athletic. I wouldn't say he's highly coordinated, but he's coordinated enough to compete. And he don't understand his little brother. So his brother grabbed the Matchbox car and threw it at his mouth. Now, I don't think he intentionally meant to hit him in the mouth, but I do think he intentionally meant to hit him above the shoulders. Let's just put it that way. He got him. He hit him hard. He's breaking down. As soon as I calm him down and talk to his brother about, hey, can't throw it at our brother when he's not paying attention. Not that he understands. We got to have the conversation. When that happened, as soon as, I'm talking less than 5 minutes later, he hits him with another Matchbox car. So he hits his brother with the Matchbox car just 5 minutes later with another one. And then he's like, I hate this. Why does he have to be so mean? And then his little brother's laughing. But then I got to take his little brother, and I'll describe it in another video, what we're doing with him. And I'm like, this is like Meltdown City. I haven't eaten. I haven't taken a shower. This little one doesn't want to go to bed on his bedtime, and I don't like to force him because that doesn't get us anywhere. The older one hates his little brother at this point. He's getting that pent-up frustration, like I want to beat the crap out of him, and he doesn't really get this. But you could just see the frustration, like how come he gets to hit me, but I can't even do anything about it. So it was kind of meltdown night in the Roy family for quite a few, at least 45 minutes, which for me, and I know some of you out there, when I say this, you're going to be like, dude, that's it? That's all you got? My kids don't really cry. They don't really get upset. We have a lot of very simple discussions that I told my son the other day, the older one. I said, I said, when you think in your head, I hear that stuff. He's like, what do you mean? I go, sometimes when daddy's telling you or having one of his speeches, and in your mind you're saying all this stuff that you know you can't really say out loud, I hear it all. And he looks at me with these big wide eyes, and I said, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And then I go, and you know you're saying it. And he smirks. I said, it's okay, you're allowed to say it as long as you don't say it out loud. You're allowed to think these things, you're allowed to have your thoughts, but you're wise enough not to say it. But just know I know what you're saying. So he was having one of those nights, and it was just the meltdown night. And then we go into bedtime, and I don't know if I told you, but we started watching the Rocky movies during this week. So we watched Rocky 1 on Monday, Rocky 2, and then we were on Rocky 3 on Wednesday. And he's like, I don't like this. Let's watch another Rocky, and he skipped to Rocky 4. So it was a rocky night on Rocky 3 that he didn't even want to watch. We got the boys down, and I'll say that the older one all week long he was sleeping in our bed. I let him stay in our bed just because he sleeps better, closer to mom and dad. And this is actually a new thing that I don't necessarily agree with, but it doesn't really bother me, and I don't know why. Maybe I know there's only a certain amount of time left that he's going to want to do that. And as a dad, I'm going to miss it. And I don't get, the space in the bed where it's just him and I. And, I'm lucky if I get another year or two of him wanting to do that. And then it's going to be like, I'm a big kid. I don't want anything to do with that. So, whew. It was one interesting week. And we'll tell you what happened on Thursday. I think it gets better. We'll see you in the next episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.